We're going to start our meeting at 12:22 this afternoon. Welcome everybody. Roll call. Tina, you want to go over who is here?
Yes, of course. Mr. Jose Zuniga,
Present.
Mr. Juan Gonzalez. He did mention that he was not going to be able to be here today.
Yes,
Correct.
Mr. Oscar Lopez,
Present.
Ms. Eva Montoya,
Present.
and Mr. Jorge Gonzalez.
He'll be here in a
Sure.
little bit. Yes.
Okay, so you do have quorum.
Thank you, Tina. Approval of the minutes for November the 9th. You all received copies of the minutes. If you have any comments, any changes, if not, if we can have a motion to approve as presented. I'll make a motion to approve as presented. If we can have a second.
I second.
Second by Mr. Oscar Lopez. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries to accept as presented. Citizen comments. There's no citizens present at this time. We're going to leave this open until the end of the meeting. We're going to move to the Treasurer's Report, financial update on Laredo Housing Finance Corporation, account at Falcon Bank, expenses and available balance. Stina?
Okay, so presented in your packet, you do have your bank statement as of December 22. And your beginning balance is still $86,407 with 48 cents, and your ending balance was $86,444 with 39 cents. There was only, I believe, one small deposit.
Thank you, Stina.
Motion that we accept.
We have a motion by Ms. Eva Montoya to accept as presented. I will second that. Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries to accept as presented. Finance operation and status report by Capstone Real Estate Services and city staff with discussion and possible action on Hamilton Apartments repairs, improvements, leases, operations, and management. We'll start with the 2023 proposed budget by Hamilton, by Capstone Real Estate. Floor is open for you, ladies.
Okay, so I think that y'all have an original one, and then you have a revised one. I would definitely look at the revised one, because I had a meeting last week, and we went over some stuff, and I did change stuff in that budget. Do y'all have any questions? Have y'all already looked at this? Do y'all want me to go line by line on?
If you can go over it by line by line.
Okay. So we're projecting that we will be bringing in rental income at $76,882. That's going to be across the board, January through December, okay? And that's showing at a 95% lease. Section 8, we will be bringing in $19,221 across the board. And our gain loss to lease is $1610, and then that's going to fluctuate throughout the year. We have vacancy loss at $45.49. Our net rental income will fluctuate, but starting January it's $93, and it pretty much stays through that amount the whole year. Commercial space is at $61.43. And that's actually going to increase because it's $200 each on the Western Union, and then also on the Palomito provider service it's an extra $200, so they will add another $400 each month to that.
So that's not reflected on this one.
Right, because it hasn't been approved yet.
It's 200 Western Union for each.
Yes, $200 each. We're raising it from $1,300 to $1,500, and then from $567 to $767.
Okay, but the union uses one space or two?
It's just
Two spaces.
Okay. Two spaces?
Palomitas is-
The
The
Palomitas
Palomitas
is two.
is
And the Palomitas are going to increase only to 200 for combined or one?
No, just one for right now, because the other one expires, I think, in May or June. And then we'll raise that one up to the 200. Application fees are right there. Starting in January, it's $154, and then levels out through December. Parking and carport fees are $500. But I do have a plan. I am actually we're sending out letters today. We're no longer going to be responsible for the parking. So as of 3/1, they will be finding their own parking spaces.
And this is for who? Parking for who?
The residents.
So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that to the board. Remember the discussion that we had
Right.
that, that y'all had been renting so many extra
Right.
spaces.
So we actually, I think it's like 24, and we don't use all of them, so they're kind of just sitting there. So we kind of just decided that the residents can pay for their own parking if they'd like, or they don't have to. So we're sending out a letter today. As of March 1st, everyone is going to be responsible for their own parking fees.
So that's gonna go to 0,
It's going to go to 0.
starting,
Except for
March.
staff, you're still going to pay this, or
We are.
you're going to find other.
Yes.
Okay.
They're gonna find what? More?
Well, it's because what was happening is she has staff that they pay the parking here, right? That they pay for the parking here, but then she had X amount for residents if they wanted to.
But this is income. I think this
Yeah.
right now is just income. So this is going to be 0 after March 1st.
Because you're not expecting
We're
it
not-
to come in.
correct.
And that was what happening. They were budgeting for this too, and they weren't renting them out, so nothing was really, because you didn't have all of them.
We did not.
So that's why the variances each month was coming out
Right.
negative, because you weren't collecting that
Right.
money.
Right.
So there's not a real need for having those.
They were paying $1,500 every month, which was $18,000 a year for parking spaces. But they were only collecting, less than $6,000. So they had more.
We have, I think, 14 accounted
So that
for.
they're not being used.
Yeah.
They're not being
It was
used.
840.
But since they had some agreement here with the Metro, they were still on the hook to pay them, even if they weren't renting them.
Great.
And at that, y'all weren't even renting them at the full amount that y'all were paying
Right.
for. So,
So we're just
yeah.
cutting it
Mm-hmm.
out.
and out of the 24 that we have, how many are we gonna keep for employees?
5?
So that'll just be reflected the expenses, no longer any
Right.
income coming in.
Correct.
So this one is from
We have laundry income at $600 a month every month. Locks and keys, 25, and it fluctuates back to 50 and then back to 25. Late fees, 95 each month. Reletting fees, we don't get a whole lot of reletting fees. Not a lot of people break their rent, so we don't think that we need to have that on a monthly base. So we just budgeted for April, May, and June. And then miscellaneous income, we also don't get a whole bunch of miscellaneous income. So we budgeted just for certain months. And also terminated tenant income as well. So total income would be $100,716. On to payroll and related. On-site payroll is $39.71. And then you can see in March we get paid 3 times, and in September we get paid 3 times. So that's calculated too.
Now, this is budgeting for 100% of five
Correct.
individuals, right?
Correct.
5 employees, 100%.
Correct. And right now we have Anna is the assistant, and Julio is the assistant maintenance.
Yes.
And that's it right now. I do have an interview with the lead maintenance today at 2:30.
We have 5 full-time?
We
Oh,
need to
oh.
have 5 full-time, that's
Full-time.
budgeted, correct.
But right now we have 3?
2
2.
right now. I'm pulling, I actually pulled this week, and we got more make-readies, so we can rent them out. And then she will be helping out on, you said Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays?
Correct.
So we're saving money on that too. Payroll taxes comes out to $23,979 a month and fluctuates throughout the year. We have office supplies at $5,000 annually, and that reflects office supplies, paper, pens, highlighters, FedEx packages. We have professional services. So the professional services high is because that is where we are paying our parking fees to El Metro. So
So
once
this
that's
one-
done, right.
It's gonna go to how much?
It's gonna be minus 1,500 as of March. So March through December, it's gonna be minus 1,500.
Well, but you'll be including five still.
Oh,
5
yes.
spaces.
So minus 1,000, thank you.
So this will go to 500 a month?
It'll,
No.
minus 1,000, because we're gonna pay for employee parking.
How much
Which
do
item
they
was
charge? Isn't it
It's
$60?
$60.
So it's 300, less 300, so it's 1,200 reduction.
Yes, but I think we should keep one just in case we have other staff helping. Oh, they can have that one. Yeah. Hold on. 60 times 5, 300, so it'll be minus 1,200.
And then there's months with fluctuation that goes up to 21.55.
So there's also included Ellis surveys, employee screenings, like if we get new employees, Kingsley surveys, and Grace Hill trainings. Like Grace Hill trainings are like our fair housing trainings, our leasing trainings.
But you have a line item for trainings. You don't include them there?
That's for like, if we are going to budget camps, like if the girls, like every month, every year we do a budget camp, stuff like that. So they're traveling to go to this budget camp in San Antonio.
And that's, I guess, we'll get there when we get to the training. That's where we have a question there.
Sure. Credit reports, are 736 for the year. Dues professional services are 13,947 for the year, and that is for Blue Moon, TAA clicks, real page expenses, and the apartment association for Corpus Christi. Copier, the copier, it is 710 for the year. We have employee relations, it's 65. The first 4 months, 290 for May, and then 65, so it comes out to 1,200 for the year. We have the bank charges, it's $100 a month from January to December. We have on-site travel. We budgeted for February, May, August, November, and December.
Do we get any bank charges tonight?
Sorry?
Do we get any bank charges?
Which line item was that one?
7517, the very top.
The first one on page 3.
So, remember they have their own bank account, like through Capstone handles the Hamilton housing, I guess, bank account, and then the board has their own other account. So, yes, I mean, I don't know who Capstone is banking with right now through the Hamilton, but
That is high for...
It's-
Yeah.
Wells Wells Fargo. Fargo.
yeah. So they have, there's two bank accounts basically.
So the service charge is $100 a month? Yes.
Is it, what is it, like y'all have Falcon Bank, right?
Ours is free.
Or just,
Yeah, and Wells Fargo here charges you $30.
okay. I can definitely research it and then,
And how much are y'all spending? Maybe that's just,
The budget. Yeah.
maybe you're just budgeting 100. How much are y'all really spending there?
Yeah, 'cause
You don't have a, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
nope, I
Maybe,
can pull it up real quick.
because maybe they're just budgeting for it and
Right,
they
right.
budgeted kinda high, but it's not, yeah. Yeah, and I see that last year they budgeted 264, so they did lower it to 100. So maybe they're not using
So
the
it's
full.
220 through through November, it was $220.
Hmm?
It was $220 through November, the bank charges.
Oh,
Monthly?
okay, okay.
No. I'm sorry. Hold on. The wrong column.
I know, this is year. No, no, they budgeted. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
they
no, yeah,
budgeted
it's
all this.
$1,095, the bank charges.
That's how much, 1,095? That's how
Through-
much?
Through
then?
November, yeah, 25th.
So then it is about $100.
Heavy. You know, a lot of today or?
Yeah, they're paying like $91. Well, that last year, a month.
Would y'all like me to continue, or?
Yeah, just check on that. please.
Okay. Cool. Training expenses, there is February, May, August, and November and December. And that reflects managers meeting quarterly and Ellis shopping reports.
I guess if we can ask, because we were looking at the contract, and we were not able to find trainings and education as part of reimbursable operating expenses.
Okay.
So we asked you if you could, check that on the contract also to see if that was allowed.
Yes, and I gave it to Renetta, and she was out last week, and she's out this week. We had a whole bunch of takeovers, so as soon as she gives me that answer,
So
I
we're
will
pending
definitely get
pending
back to her.
that one.
Yeah.
That was
And
the-
those were just some questions, and I know, and we can share again with the board,
Right.
the contract that we have. I mean, it's an older contract, so there might be time for us to have to renew that contract. But it does, so the board is paying an administrative fee and then some reimbursable operating costs. So that I guess that was the question.
It is part of the packet,
Yeah.
the contract.
Yeah,
The
so
See,
agreement.
see, he said. Okay.
Okay. Education is 1,200 for the year. That reflects TAA, and then the education conference. TDHCA compliance is a one-time for $41.25. Marketing expenses, we have $273, and that reflects Sprouts, ALN, and Reputation.com. We have internet advertising, it's apartments.com at $505 for the month, and that goes all the way to December. Internet advertising is $55, and that is our website for Hamilton. We have promotions for $25.20 for the year. That's resident functions, that's coffee, that's water, that's holiday parties, Thanksgiving and Christmas. We have referral fees at $100 a month. So our referral fee is $50 per referral,
Paid to the tenants.
paid to the tenant. And we're no longer going to do the gift card, we're just going to concession them off their rent.
The rent.
Okay.
Utilities, we have $50,695 for the year for water. We have $45,600 for the wastewater for the year. The utility billing service is at $37.08. Electricity is at $144 for the year. Gas is at $10,200 for the year. We have trash removal at
Didn't that decrease the electricity with the?
With the city's contract,
Yeah.
yes. I believe the November billing was like 6,000 something, 6,500 for all three accounts. So there might be a savings there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you will see it.
Yeah, if we can-
Trash removal is at $85.20 for the year. Cable TV is at $320 a month. We got on a call today. We are looking into that. We are, Mr. Delgado, he advised us that on one of y'all's other properties, y'all are, I guess, having an antenna,
Yes.
and it kind of brings the cost down, so we're looking into that. Internet expense is $75 for a month for the year. Telephone and pagers are $14.41 every month. And that's also gonna go down to, I was on a call with them this morning and it should, we have a couple lines that we're no longer needing, so we're gonna cut back on that as well. Maintenance and repairs, plumbing is $8,400 for the year. HVAC is $12,911. And $632 of every month, it's called Kim Aqua, and that's needed for the, I think it's a water softener.
Yeah.
We have electrical supplies, $475 a month. Building repairs and supplies are $600. I did have uniforms at $1,800, and I cut it back to half that, which is $900 for March. Appliance repairs and supplies are $200 a month for the whole, every month for the year. Carpet cleaning and repair, we have it every, I guess, what, quarter? $325. We have paint at $600 a month, January through December. Apartment cleaning and janitorial, $350 every month. We have inspections, and it's gonna fluctuate because we have the fire extinguisher inspection, elevator inspection, and that fluctuates, bringing it to $85.25 for the year.
Yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Our management fee is $37,901, and that's operating at 95%. Insurance is $5,000 a month. MIP insurance is $1,270. We have pest control at $675. And then also we have 7 bed bug treatments if needed. The security system is $38 a month. And then we have in March and August, we threw some money in there for key fobs for the doors. Answering service is $106 a month. Elevator service is quarterly, and that's $47.65.
I'm sorry, I have a question on the answering service.
Okay.
So, the emergency number, it doesn't get picked up by the maintenance?
It does. So it's like when you call and it gets forwarded, it's going to ask you if you have an emergency, if you just have a question about general leasing, and it leaves a message, and then it transfers to the first person on call is the lead maintenance. And then if they don't answer, it goes to the manager, and if the manager doesn't answer, it goes to either me or Monica.
Okay. So you don't have one designated just for emergency?
It is, it's all of it together. They have to
For
press
the-
1, 2, or 3. Like if it's an emergency, it's 1. If it's leasing, it's 2.
No, but I mean, I guess it's open to the public if they're gonna ask any questions. It's not just for the tenants in case they have any
Correct.
emergency.
Yes, it's everybody. Because if it's an emergency and they're calling, then they're gonna put emergency and it's gonna go straight to one of us.
Do you ever have any concerns from the tenants that they don't understand is it in Spanish and English?
So far, we haven't had any issues whatsoever, no questions. Is it in Spanish or English? I've never heard it in Spanish.
And
I haven't
I
either.
was asking because, well, with our maintenance crew, we have the maintenance supervisor. He's the one that receives the emergency calls from the tenants. And as far as any other questions, they go directly to the,
Like instead of having an answering service where we actually, every tenant that walks into any of our 600 units gets given an emergency number. And that emergency number is to a cell phone that is
Got it.
assigned, and we alternate people, we have more staff, but I mean, so they take that cell phone, like this is my weekend, I'm gonna be on call
That's on
after
call.
5, and so it's not like an answering service, it's
But this
just
isn't
directly
really
to.
an answering service. So like it's like somebody, the
Yeah,
answering
it
service.
prompts it.
So either way, even if we did have a cell phone, it'd be the exact same because it's saying like if you have a maintenance emergency, press 1. Then it can,
just
and
for
then,
like the messaging?
right.
Or,
Like, and then how does it go? You'll leave like a detailed message, right? Hi, this is 203, my water just busted.
So then
And
they
it
have,
goes straight to us.
yeah, and then you'll have to call them back.
Right. Well, no, it actually connects to a
Oh,
phone.
it connects, okay,
Yeah,
like
it
it
blocks
transfers
it,
the call.
yes. And then if he doesn't answer, and then 2 minutes later, he's like, oh, I saw a call. He calls that number, and then it connects to that person.
And that's a separate number than what you
No,
have
it's
in
the same
operations.
office.
It's the same number.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They don't have a separate number. It's the same number, and that's why they're paying an answering service, because it's directing the calls, basically.
Elevator service is quarterly at $47.65. Total operating expense for the year is $847,783. Total operating income for the year is $361. Then we have debt service. Interest expense for the year is $166,229. Principal payment is $126,077, and then we have capital items. Capital items is not guaranteed that we are going to get. It's just to have Hamilton functioning just in case. On the original, I did have a lot more money in this capital expense, but I cut down also a whole bunch on rehab costs, on plumbing, and on carpet replacement.
The capital items we can get from the loan, is that correct or no? Do we still
So-
have money for capital?
I don't know
You
how
have
much.
to, okay, so I actually just learned this. We have to have, it is $1,000 per unit that you have to have sitting all the time
In your replacement
reserve.
reserve.
And I think that they took out something in August, so it put us below, so we're having to catch up.
So typically, I've seen other units. What they do is so it's a replacement reserve. So you still have to ask to get reimbursed.
Right.
So you still have to gonna budget it, because you're the operating funds is gonna have to make the repairs.
Right.
So so then so from the payment each month that
It's
Capstone is
for-
giving
yeah.
to the bank, they're putting aside $1,000 per unit, and then there's that reserve there. What happens is, like in the other unit, they'll look at it at the end of the year, and they'll see how much they have in their replacement reserve, and then they'll compare it to the invoices of the repairs that they did, and sometimes they can recoup some of that operating.
Okay.
But that's how it would be. Now, we had a big expense that was, gonna really hurt your operating expense, and I
The
think that's why
restaurant.
they went and pulled
Took
it.
from that.
But if now we're under that reserve amount,
We actually should be okay starting February 1st. We should have evened out.
yeah.
We were only like 10,000 when I requested money. I didn't know that we had to have a certain amount. I knew that we had a lot in there. I didn't know it had to be at a certain amount to stay there. So I think we could probably draw more towards the end of the year.
Yeah, you could just now be looking at it
Right.
once a year, yeah.
That is why your net income is going to have a negative number. That's if we are to spend all of that money each month in capital.
But you will be making some changes, right? So that
That
will
number is-
reduce your deficit.
We are, well, yeah, so like, we're already saving because we don't have a full-time manager. We don't have a lead maintenance, so until we actually hire somebody, like.
No, but what I mean to have a balanced budget.
Yeah, because we cannot have a negative budget.
Okay, I can take out all of the capital.
I would say,
No,
I would
you-
say reduce,
You were already gonna reduce the
Yeah,
fourteen
reduce the other
thousand
line.
400 from the parking.
yeah, and the cable, revisit
Yeah, but
those line
I
items.
think like, I don't know if we necessarily, like, it's just a budget, like, it's not guaranteed, like, I don't know if we should just take it out, because what if we don't wanna do that? What if they love that TV, like, everyone is down there. If I do change it and then they don't get the certain channels that they want, it's just gonna be something that's just gonna.
But you're
upset
saying leave them TV and take away, like maintenance stuff or capital? I mean,
But this is just in case. We may not need $1,000 for rehab. We needed it last month, that's why it's just budgeted just in case. This is not guaranteed, like, it's just a just in case. For HVAC, we didn't order anything for HVAC this month.
I don't know, it's like with our unit, and we don't get any complaints because they get like 32 air channels, and very clear, they're 4K.
How
We don't
many
get it
units is
with-
that property? Or how many people?
It's for 50,
Right, we have 169 people.
yeah.
But if you,
The-
but if you don't have the
do all of
budget
them
to
will-
pay
will-
for cable,
Yeah.
why are we paying for cable?
And
I
how-
mean,
how
we
many-
don't have the
But to me,
operating income.
I get it, but to me, 324 is not gonna change this negative amount.
Well, at the end
Right.
of the
It's
day,
gonna help.
it's gonna help.
Right,
It's
but
gonna
if
help
we,
because, you know, it's gonna be those 3,000 plus the $14,000 that you're reducing from the parking.
right,
And then we have an even budget.
Yes. Now, as far as, you know, again, back to the cable, you know, you only use it for the lobby, right?
right.
So are people, all of the 165 always using, you know,
There's
watching it?
probably right now like 20 people, and like they they come and go. There's so many people.
Because
just even
older
down there.
people normally check the local channels.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's what they see.
What
And
do you
that's
see
what-
mainly whenever they're watching? I see sports every time I go in.
Yeah,
it's-
they're always watching channel 20, the 25, Telemundo, I think, and.
Those are-
where
those
the-
are local.
so,
Yeah, those are
antenna.
locals, yeah. Yeah, those are local.
Right, I think as well, we need to adjust the cable, and then with the adjustment of the parking, we should have an even budget,
Yeah, just for those two.
right?
cable and parking.
But you,
And we'll also need to check to see that the training and education will be reduced also.
That's part of the contract, depending on how the contract
Yeah.
reads.
So let's just say the contract doesn't read training and education. You want to take out training for leasing, fair housing, teaching somebody.
so that, what we're saying, that's the responsibility of Capstone,
Capstone,
not us.
right, the company
Yeah,
itself.
not the operating of the facility, because we're already giving, they're already paying an administrative fee.
Got it.
So from that
should be
administrative fee, they
included
can
with it.
still pay it. That's the, I guess, the comment.
Okay.
Not that they don't,
Not
we
that
don't want
they-
them to do,
yeah.
no, we still want trained staff in the,
Compliant.
Right.
yeah, correct. I mean, and the other item that we can
The
really look at.
electricity, we also need to adjust.
Oh, yeah, you can adjust the electricity and that, so that you can have a more balanced budget. You can look at the last, well, yeah, cause they've been on the new Reliant contract for
November,
what,
December, January.
already like 3-4 months, yeah.
You,
who has
you
the
send me the
access
invoice,
to-
right?
Who has the actual
Yes.
invoice for
Yeah,
last-
we send them to them every month.
We should have.
and you know
If
what
you do
we
a
paid last
percentage
time?
comparison, then you can readjust every month.
Cause they were already in operations like the last 2 months, so we have an idea as to
That's true, yeah, they've already had a, yeah.
2-3 months. Mainly, I think that they are the ones that use most of the electricity.
Yeah, just do an average percentage adjustment.
Who, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, the,
No, remember,
We
the
pay
electricity is for
everyone's
everything,
electricity.
everyone.
no, I know,
Oh,
but,
but if any increase happened was
cause
because
that
of the
place
restaurant.
was vacant. The
Yes.
commercial, one of the food space was
Yeah.
vacant for a long time, so now that they've been in operations, what has the rent, the electricity gone up like substantially, or what are we, where are we averaging?
No, it actually went down. I believe the October statement was
Just
for
remember that we readjusted
like
the rate.
6,500 for, they have three accounts, three electricity accounts, and it was like 6,500 for all three. I think it was the October statement.
And we're allocating how much here, 12?
I know that the first, when we did the transition, it was it was mid-July or August, something like that. It was like $13,000, but because it picked up most of the previous company's rate, Caballos.
Okay, so the one that we got sent on 11/17/22. $66.78.
Yeah, even if we adjust to 8, because I know there's some peak months, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're also adjusting the phones,
or huh?
the phone.
Yes. I don't have an exact number that we would reduce it to, though.
And on the phones, if you're looking at adjusting at 4 lines, let's just adjust it to 2 in case you have any extras. And with that, we should have a surplus instead of a negative. And we leave the capital.
Yes, because I think the capital is.
Yeah.
In fact, I was thinking that maybe in the capital, and this is just a suggestion, where we have plumbing, $18,000. Remember we talked about maybe having a plan to make improvements, fix the plumbing maybe by phases,
By faces,
by
yeah.
floors. Maybe we can even move part of the carpet replacement. That I think the plumbing is more important. Part of that, move it over to plumbing, and actually do something with those funds.
And carpet
And then the
replacement.
replacement.
Well, but carpet replacement, you all only do it when someone moves out, right? Because you all don't do it
So
when they complain.
Sarah was under the impression that y'all had told her that everyone that moves out, it needs to be switched to the vinyl flooring.
So that was what was suggested. Yeah, I mean, that's what, I think at one point, we wanted to
all-
transition little by little. But how many new tenants do y'all get a
Right.
year?
Yeah.
You don't get that many. So maybe just adjusting that. Now, I know sometimes when they would move out, you had tenants that had been living there 10, 15 years.
Right.
So when they moved out, it was a matter of you need to
Right.
replace it. You couldn't rent it. So we were saying, why invest in another carpet that you're gonna have to? So that was
the switch.
Yeah, that was the switch. And then it was also suggested some of the floors, if there was money in there, that some of the floors had been phased out. Those were just all capital improvements.
Right.
And I think what's included those are is the hallways, the replacement on the carpet on the hallways, not.
I know that there is some that are the vinyl or the wood flooring.
Yeah, because they
Not
had
all of them.
they had started doing the transition also. So those were some of the capital improvements that you all were bringing to the board of like, you know what, we have a little surplus,
Right.
mid-month, let's do, should we do this, should we do that? The other thing you all, I know it was requested, and I don't know if Sarah ever brought us any quotes on fixing the awnings outside.
Yeah, she was gonna check, but she never
But she
brought
never
it
brought
back.
us anything on Salinas Street. You know how like that awning, a lot of them are broken. So there was gonna be, and then the question was, at one point, a long time ago, many years ago, they had lights. So
They still have the original lights.
yeah, and so she was gonna get an electrician to tell the board how much that cost. And I know that might not be in the budget right now, but these were things that the
That
board
we
had
wanted
asked.
to-
But what
Give us
lights?
long-term like capital improvements
Where were the lights at?
under the awning.
Under the awning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these were just little things that like, I know they might not be budgeted, but to
That we
start
had requested
to start
see.
looking at, bringing once a year, every 6 months, something like, hey,
Different.
yeah. And the other item that, you can see from the outside is windows. And the windows look in really bad shape, the outside windows, because they're wood. That might be something that you need to bring to the board and tell them, in the next 5 years, we're gonna have to start, fixing them little by little. Those are other capital improvement items that I remember had been discussed a while ago.
Okay, so
Hmm?
I'm changing electricity,
To 8,000?
cable. We are changing the parking fees. Already have that. Change training expenses, and then looking at the big charges.
What are we changing the cable to?
An antenna
On intent.
Okay.
And then
The phones, right?
and the phones.
and then if approved, you're gonna adjust the commercial spaces as well. The telephone, you're gonna reduce 1 or 2 lines.
On the elevators, it's just maintenance that we're doing, right? There's no
And
repairs that needed to be done?
Yeah, the quarterly is just on.
There was no repairs that needed to be done?
I don't know if there's any other questions, comments. If not, I'll just make a motion to move the approval of the budget for next meeting once we have the final numbers.
Second.
We have a second by Eva. Everybody in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? We'll leave budget pending for next meeting. Rent increase proposals.
The rental increase is this little packet right here. So I was at first thinking $50 a renewal and then increasing everybody at move-in, the new move-ins at 100, but I just don't think that it's going to bring that much within that year. So I am proposing something new. We increase everybody at renewal and the new move-ins. Studios are going to be $700, 1 bedroom, and it's right there on the right. 1 bedrooms are $760 and 2 bedrooms are $808. We have 92 on TBRA. We have 18 participants on the Laredo Housing Authority, and the non-voucher units, we have 38. If we are to do this and increase it, increase everybody, at the end of the year, we would be bringing in an extra $25,873. Right.
How's that in comparison to?
So, I mean, studios for 700 right now, we see, I mean, in this area, I would say, I mean, it's gonna, the ones that are gonna struggle a little bit more are gonna be the ones that don't have subsidy. On the subsidy side, if that would still have to be presented to the TBRA program. So if, like, let's say the board approves it, then the management company does have to send a letter to the TBRA program,
Right. Like the 30 days.
advising us of the change. If that might just change us, we would probably no longer have 100 vouchers. But I mean, we've only been renting 92 because of the slow turnover. So we would probably leave them on 92 vouchers. I would no longer probably budget for, this is on the program side.
Budget
So
for the 100.
Yeah, so that I can make up that money, because we only put a certain amount of money for the program. So on the TBRA side, if we were to approve those, and we would of course have to check that they comply with our other requirements, then that would mean that the tenant doesn't see the increase, just the program sees the increase, right? Because it's a subsidy program. The housing authority should work the same way. They would just be notified. They would advise you if there was any issues with those amounts. And then the non-voucher units. So this would leave you at 38 units that will not be receiving subsidies. So those 38 units, I don't know out of those 38 how many you have rented right now. So out of those 38, it would either require, I mean, those people might be might not be able to afford it because some of them were renting really, really low. So that might just, be like a shock to them because some of them, for some reason, they were renting at 300. So that might be a big shock to them. They might tell you, you know what, we need to vacate. Now, is 700 a comparable? I'm just talking about the studio right now. But is the 700 a comparable rent in this area? I wouldn't know. I mean, I think.
I think with all bills paid, because we're paying everything. We're paying trash, we're paying sewer, we're paying wastewater, we're paying electricity. Like, I think 700 is not a huge jump, and it's gonna be bringing in.
What is the average right now?
Or 85?
I think it's like 539.
So right now for the studios, with our TBR program, we're paying $539. So you're looking at doing probably a difference of $161 increase. The way our program works is that it has to be an adjustable rent, that it's reasonable.
So we'll just verify. We'll do our due diligence and see if it's reasonable.
Okay.
If it's not, again, we'll let you know, and we would tell you what would be reasonable for our program and what would be not, and then you would bring it back to the board if that's the case. What we just need to make sure is that again, you all have a base rent because you didn't have a base. For some reason, it got,
Right.
very distorted. So you just need to have a base, and then. And if it's 6 months, you realize that this base that
It's not gonna work with
your
the
non-voucher,
readjust.
because it's really going to be from your non-vouchers that y'all are going to see that you're no longer at 92 or 94 vacancy percentage. You're going to be at, very high if you can rent those 38. So it's really going to be, can you all rent these units at 700, 760, and 808? So that's really going to be the push that they're going to have to make and be able to rent
So
you
if you
those
look
units.
at this, see this black line that goes across? So I organize it by the end of their lease term. So the first part is the end of January. Those are how many are expiring. Then it goes down between each black line. It's February, March, April, and then so on. So in January we're gonna have 1. In February we're gonna have 2 non-voucher units that it would affect. In March, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So out of those 38 non-voucher units,
Yes, ma'am.
right now, how many are rented? All of the 38?
So these are all, yes, so this is 148 occupied. The bottom, if you look at the last page, those are our vacants right now.
Okay. So the average jump on the non-voucher units occupied right now, you're saying that we're gonna, depending if they're a studio at 1 and 1 and 2 bedrooms. What's the average increase? You said 160?
So right now, most of them, because most of them are receiving the TBRA program, so if we base ourselves, so 92 units of your 160 units that you're supposed to have. Why does it add up to 148? Don't you have 165?
We
Oh,
do,
you
but
have
this is just
the-
occupied.
Those are the
So
occupied.
the occupied.
So I have
But-
the,
I see. So, okay, so,
But
yeah.
we already said that the Laredo Housing and the TBRA, there might not have an impact, or if they have like an
The
impact.
customer doesn't,
Or
correct.
maybe we have to come back and adjust that based
Yeah.
on what is allowable from those vouchers, right?
Yes.
So the 38 that are out there, so we're saying that those right now, depending on, because I can
Yeah.
already see.
Look, on an average, the one bedroom are being rented at 585. Is that what you're asking?
585, yes, so 585, so.
That's a
10
one bedroom.
Okay.
So-
Like the studios, for example, I'm sorry to interrupt, there's some at $250, there's some at $300. So what she's proposing to do is putting all those studios that are paying $200, $300, all the way to $700.
And why were they paying 200? Because we just
Just
randomly,
that's just what the contract was. Like,
we never adjusted?
Right,
Or we never
correct.
came back and revisited and, no?
Well,
I mean, that's gonna be
I don't
very-
think the board was aware of that discount that was given at that time.
Oh,
Like the management team made that call and they rented some at different rents.
Because I can see where the the outcome of this, where we want to go from 200 to 700 or 800, I mean, the majority are
But
not
we
gonna
also
do it.
haven't had a rental increase,
For years, I think 6 years.
yeah.
No, I understand, yes, and
It's a very high.
I understand, but
Drastic.
it's been like $50, $60, $20, but we're trying to
And
scroll from
it's-
200 to 700?
Yeah, it's about
It's 500.
And
know,
it
I
seems
get-
like there's not that
They were
many.
underbilled
Yeah,
for
there's
many
not.
years.
There's not that many. Look, there. If you look at it, and you can spot them right away.
Yeah.
If you kind of look like in January.
We're
Well, in January you're not gonna have any really drastic ones,
In
February,
February,
yeah.
but in
one.
February,
you
yeah.
have one.
Yeah.
March,
In March,
you have two.
So this
Three.
unit, I guess unit 604 is paying 585 right now.
No,
No,
it's the
not the
lease
market
rent.
rent.
It's the
Okay.
one that says
Okay.
lease rent.
550.
Yeah.
So what is this guy renting? It's gonna go to 760,
This is a one
$190?
bedroom, so yes,
Yes.
760, correct.
$110.
Yes.
Is the increase.
604, it's a $210 increase.
But then you have 718 that goes
From 279.
to
And that's a
700.
$421
Since
increase.
Larry moved in last year, it moved in 3/1/21, or that's just a renewal?
So it says
It's a
moving
move-in.
date,
Move in.
Yeah.
and we list at 279.
Yeah.
But that was just last year, 2 years, less than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I know, and it does look bad, but guys, we can't think of, like, this is, I'm trying to fix it, okay? Like, we cannot go back and be like, why did we rent it at 279? I
Yeah,
have
it's
no
gone.
idea, I wasn't there, like, it's awful, and it is gonna be a big jump. But at the same time, like, we have to make this jump to be able to pay bills, like,
No, I understand. We understand.
and,
That's what
and
we're
honestly, we
pushing
can
you
just
to do.
try it. We can see, we were gonna give out letters today and, kind of get a feel of it. And if there's a lot of pushback or we are getting a lot of notice to vacates, then we'll pull back and we'll do a different amount.
Because look at Rosalia, like at unit 714,
What-
she hasn't been there in 1
which-
year.
Hold on.
714.
Is it, when does she in? March or April?
She went in
in
May,
March.
May 2022, and these are,
It
unless
ends
these are
in March.
renewals.
It's a renewal in March.
Okay.
But it seems like, you know, that one was like fairly new, 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess on the-
I think we want to get a base. At the end of the day, we do
Yeah.
want a
No.
base rent.
Mhm.
I don't know, but again, like Tina said, we can readjust this later on. The only thing is that if this doesn't work, it's gonna hit us on the
The budget.
rental percentages.
Well, I mean, going back to your point, I guess that there's very few that are 279 or 300. The other ones are, I mean, I think $100, and if you haven't.
I mean, and you can always, argue that lease was not an approved lease by the board. So
Right.
that amount was not approved. So I understand where it's gonna be up to Capstone now to talk to that tenant and explain that to that tenant.
And
And, hopefully they are able to, pay the new rent, maybe give them an extension, maybe give them, if they're gonna vacate, maybe you give them,
Work with them.
a longer vacating,
And
allowance or
we do
something.
make it, we do make them aware that we are paying for everything, so
Yeah,
not
I
a
was
lot
gonna
of,
say that.
not a lot of units are like that, so
Right.
we always,
Because also
Look at the bright side.
on the notification, you need to let them know that's, many of them are not gonna be affected, because of the programs.
I am
Yeah.
okay with approving, but with a review within the next 2 months, just to see how
The
the
reaction.
reaction is. And then we can revisit on the value of the base.
And of
How
course,
would you guys
and
think?
they will have to present it to both the housing authority and the tenant-based
And the
rental program,
TBR.
and get their
Readjust
get their
based on
reaction or their response and bring it to the board.
Right,
Mhm.
I think that's the way I would like to approve it.
I agree.
So I'll make a motion if we can have a second. Eva has a second. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries, so we'll approve the base rates as presented. We will review in 2 months with responses from TBRA and Laredo Housing, and we'll revisit the base pricing
or non-monthly?
on the rents.
So do we have to wait until you do your due diligence and we're allowed to?
So you have to submit, like, so, like as of
I can-
tomorrow,
I
you
have
can
it,
send
right.
the letter
Okay.
to both programs, right? You send it to them and then you wait for their response.
Send it to them or send it to the resident?
So you have to send it to the program first. Because right now you have leases with the program.
Right.
So let's just say you let the program know that you are increasing your base rent, and then we will respond and let you know, if this is allowed, not allowed. Now, you can start sending everyone in of course, your renewal notice.
go, right.
Yeah, right now you would already be sending January, February, probably even March.
We are.
So you can already start letting them know that this is the
The new
rent
base.
that you will
So
be
do
paying.
y'all not have a form that we have to fill out, or we just send you a letter?
You just send us a letter.
Because like Section 8 in San Antonio, it's a form that we give the apartment number, the name, the address, and then what they're currently paying and what we're moving them to.
Yeah, but since here you usually have 100 units, you wouldn't do one for each. That's the issue. So you would just send me a letter similar to the one that you saw back from 2015. I think that's the last time
Right.
you'll send our program one.
Right.
2015, 2016. You just do it like that because you will be charging the same amount for all studios, all one.
Okay.
Yeah, Section
saw
8
that.
is different because since it's a Section 8 voucher, they have a form because the units can be very different.
Right.
So they're gonna ask like how big is it, because it could be
Family,
anybody.
family
Yeah, there's
member,
different
square
factors.
footage.
Okay.
Yeah, but here we
So-
already have your information. We know how many we know which units we're paying. We know how big those units are and
Got it.
everything.
So I don't have to send you a letter every time we're increasing somebody's. I'm
So
just giving
once-
them the letter and that's it.
So correct. So once
Okay.
you get that letter approved by the program, then you continue sending your renewal letters to each of your tenants.
Right.
And when they come to us, we will already know what's the new rent that's going to be charged. Yes.
How long do you think it will take to get a response back from y'all?
I mean, you can send it to us, and we can try to get you a 15-day response. Yeah.
But the new rental is not gonna be effective until
Till
the
March,
renewal
right.
of the contract, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, no, we're not going to break contract. You're going to be slowly
Because we're trying
increasing
to get
everyone.
all of them done by March, paying the new rent.
Well, but you're not going to be breaking leases.
Right, but we have January and
Yeah,
February.
of course. So you're gonna January, February, March. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, no.
So January, February, she's
Well,
gonna
you
go
can't
ahead
break
and-
ours. Like ours, no longer, because you have a current lease. So our January, we already renewed a lease, and you all signed off on the lease.
I don't get what you were saying. Like, what do you mean on that?
So for the tenant-based rental program,
Right.
Capstone has already agreed on every lease for January, every lease for February. We might have even started March already. No, not March. Maybe January, February only. Well, February
That's what
maybe
needs
some
to
of
be
them.
checked in order to.
Yeah.
Because I don't,
If there's already
You
an
have a
agreement
contract
for
with us.
January, February, and March, then this would have to start until
Until
April.
April.
Yeah.
Per unit. Is that what you're
Per
saying?
unit.
The ones that you renewed for January,
So-
February, and March?
So so sometimes a move-in date from them is you moved them in and you gave them a lease, and then 3 months later
but we haven't signed any leases with people in January. And then I
you
still have
signed with
some on
us. Yes, you have.
The only thing is that.
Not
I
with
made
the
a-
tenant though, that's what she's
Yeah,
asking.
that's
Well,
Not with
it's
the tenant.
because okay. So the
So-
way it works is there's a three. So we have a lease. So let me give you an example of a person that's where I was getting at. So someone moved in with you, full rent, starts renting there. A few months later, they're on our waiting list. They get assisted with us. Then with us, they come in and and we sign an agreement and we say, oh, you qualify for a program, kind of like Section 8, like a voucher. You
Right.
qualify. We agree. How much are you renting there for? Oh, we rent this much. Oh, okay. Yes, I agree. Take it back to your landlord. Are they going to agree to enter into a 1-year lease with a program? So you have a 1-year lease with our program.
So the date is gonna vary.
It's gonna be
In
different.
some
see,
of them, it
that-
might.
But to me, that doesn't make any sense. Because we have a contract with the resident, and the resident has a contract with you. No. Why
No.
would we have a contract with
You
you?
have a contract with us because you are accepting the
You're
voucher.
accepting the voucher.
hmm That's how our program is set up, and that's how it's been.
So for, I guess, because I'm.
And you might even have a contract with the housing
Let's
authority.
say you go in and
I
you
believe
sign
so.
a
You
lease
have contracts with housing authorities
But
also.
this-
in January.
Yeah,
But then in March, you get accepted by the program. So the program lease is for 1 year. So
They're
even
gonna
though
pay-
you
So now
started
you're-
in January, your contract with them,
But it's
So you're
not
stuck.
because
It's, I'm the tenant, I'm the tenant, she's helping with the assistance.
Yes.
So,
you need to remember that Hamilton is accepting
A third party.
the
A
third
payment.
party.
but I thought that they went in since like when they initially went in and signed the lease, or they go knock on the Hamilton and says, you have a vacancy, right? But
That's when
because
they
I'm
go in.
approved with city already. And
But
then,
if you weren't approved with the city, your contract actually starts when you start with the city.
But we already have a contract. We have a TAA contract that's, like you said, she started in January. And she got on your program in March.
In March, you get a contract from them.
Yes.
Right, but it's between the resident and TVRA.
And then
because you're
us and you.
approving them.
And-
It's a
and
three-party, and
it's
Housing
it's
Authority
a
works the same
three-party
way.
contract.
You have a contract with Housing Authority too, as a landlord. You agree to accept that payment.
Because San Antonio is not like that, and I don't know, San Antonio, yes, let's just say they aren't on the program, and then in the middle of the year they get on it. There's a contract between the resident and that person, and yes, they are paying us a certain amount, but we keep that same contract that they moved in every year. It's not between the
So
housing.
there might be,
us.
so there might be different mechanisms so different housing authorities have different programs also. Tenant-based rental assistance, I could tell you San Antonio Party doesn't have that program. But what happens is that there's different mechanisms to work these programs, and this is the way we've been working this one. What happens here, and we have both, right? Because sometimes they're on our waiting list, they get calls from our waiting list, and then we call Hamilton and say, hey, you have someone, is there a unit available? So we send them, and everything starts at the same. But sometimes someone in our waiting list is already living there. And that's when you'll have a month, so
You're gonna
you'll
have a
have some months that it's gonna lapse, and then your TA agreement ends, but you still have 3 more months with us. And you just leave it, and then you renew everyone at the same time. That's just the way. And we do ask for the leases. When they live there, we do ask them for leases. So we would get a copy of the leases sometimes, not all the time, but we would get a copy for the leases and put them in our file also.
So
but
that
there
means
would be off.
92 contracts are wrong in our system then.
They might
Probably. Not all of them, but
be. No, they might be.
some of them.
So,
If they were already there, and then they got
Because
approved
we
by the
don't ever,
program.
we don't ever change.
But you have to continue doing your lease, like renewals, like when they started with you.
Every year.
Not based on your
1 year
renewal.
until
Correct.
Well,
Both.
no.
both,
Right.
both,
But
because
why ours doesn't matter in that case? What you're just saying, ours doesn't matter.
you have a contract, because you
'Cause
enter into a
reassign-
new contract, yes.
You enter into a new contract,
You enter into a new contract.
which is a
So,
three-party contract.
so is there like instructions so I can read it?
Yeah, of course, we can
yeah.
send you the whole contract. We actually send you the whole
You have
contract.
a
You
copy
look
of the
at it,
contract.
you make copies of it, and you have it in your file. So you should have copies of our contracts in your files too. But we can have a discussion.
Yeah.
Send us a letter, and then we'll discuss it. But basically, what I'm telling you is, or what I'm letting you know is that in January, you could possibly go to the people that you're saying that have no subsidy from anybody. Those are the ones you're gonna be able to fix right away.
Okay.
Until you get our okay, you can't touch our contracts. Yeah.
So let's, I mean, just for an example, on this unit 411, this one renews, or the lease ends in January 2023. Right? That one is being, has some type of assistance, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
it does
with-
TBRA.
Okay, so then her lease started in April, no,
So look at that. The one's interesting. So she moved in.
moved in April 2011, and then lease ends in,
So then it's in. I guess she renewed her last renewal, because so that lease start should be last renewal was April 2021, which that's probably their number, and
But she
then
didn't maybe come in time and
Yeah.
renew. So,
Yeah.
but we always, we don't start it until they have signed the documentation and it's like the following month. She could have came in late and then that's when we
so
started.
in her
So
case, she's going to
if
get,
one that starts in January.
she's gonna
for-
get
for
billed
her,
higher,
she
you're
can
gonna
keep
be
it on
able
a
to.
month-to-month
No, I can't
until
because she already
she
said
gets
we don't
the
have a
full
contract for
the
January, so
federal
January
government.
is.
And
Yeah.
then that's when she can
January,
start.
it's
using
done,
it.
January is done
So
with
it
January,
matches.
February. For sure.
you know.
Yes, ma'am, that's what she's saying.
So,
We can start in March,
Everyone's gonna renew.
see how it goes, but not until they
So
get
you're
the
not
approval.
renewing anybody right now?
Yes, I am, but they're all up to September. So if somebody
It's
comes
not a
in,
yearly,
they'll be confused.
it's up through September the 30th, and that's what she
Because-
can do. She can keep it on a month to month. And then, you know, have the agreement, sign the agreement, you know, the same dates. And then start
Those are
everybody
the
again, otra vez in October, and she'll have everybody in October.
Perfect.
And they will match the program.
so I was under the impression that the agreements that the girls were signing are like, they passed inspection, like everything looks good.
No, you're agreeing to accept the program and accept the
voucher.
the voucher for that term. But we can work through the logistics of it, through this programming. I can't speak about Section 8, but I can speak on this one. We are, on the program side of it, we are looking at ways to not have so many renewals every month. So
Right.
we were hoping to put a lot of them on a month to month and then start everyone new. But of course, we're never going to have, we will try to get most of them at a certain date, but then you will always have people move in and move out during the year. So
Right.
even if you try to get someone, now the way our other units work is if someone comes in right now, they do yearly contracts in September, right?
So it'll
You
be
do
in
September.
a month to month.
So they give them month-to-month contracts until September. You get a year contract. That's how we've fixed. Our other rental units. But that's just something that, again, as your management company, they can present to you and different options to if you want to clean this up, if you want to change some of it, if you have any concerns about what you're signing with the program. Again, you can bring it up to the board. You can bring it up to us, and we'll review it. But yes, that's
And
all.
at this point, I think this helps us out because it gives us time to adjust and readjust until.
Yeah. All of our contracts, like, you know, like I said, started October the 1st. So we get somebody right now, we only make the contract from right now through September the 30th.
So I basically have to get with you on all 92 units and make sure I am renewing with y'all then. That's basically what you're saying.
Well, I don't know how you all were doing it
Because
before.
in Section 8, you have to give a 60-day notice
60
that
day
we're
notice,
renewing.
yeah.
That's it. There's no contract between us and them. It is between the resident and,
No, you have an agreement. You're signing to accept that voucher.
but it's not an agreement with dates and
Oh.
and stuff like that. Like, there's not two leases. There's one lease and then the differential in pay. Like, if it increases,
Yeah.
they figure all that. So,
And we can adjust again. We can, if you letting us know, and it doesn't happen all the time. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes they come in through our program and we send them
Refer
to
'em,
you.
yeah, you
Yes.
refer
So
to
so then we have the same dates, right? But what we can do is we can look at it and maybe we start. We'll just do a 6-month renewal or a 5-month renewal if we want to get them all in the same time frame.
can y'all do that? Because we are not allowed to do that. We can only do one time a year. You can only increase tax credit people one time a year.
I'm putting everyone for October.
But you're talking about increases, right? Say that again. You can only
We can
renew?
only increase rent one time a year.
Oh yeah, no, of course, but
So what?
but that has nothing to do with signing leases. Like, so if someone walks in right now,
Right.
you're not increasing their rent. You're establishing a new rent and you're giving them a 1-year contract. What you're saying is what happens when that person comes and accepts a voucher, and now you have to accept those terms, and now with a different date. So what happens is that you're basically, let's just say you moved them in January, they didn't get an assistance till March, and then we have now an agreement saying from March to March. So next year, you can leave them on a month-to-month, January, February, March, and then renew yours March so that it can match ours. I think that's what was happening.
Because we also have to do recertifications. Like, it's just gonna mess up. Like,
No, well, y'all have been doing it somehow. So I think you need to go
and
back.
if we keep changing dates and stuff, it's
Go
just,
back and research how you've been doing it, because you've been doing it.
It probably wasn't right.
Yeah. So again, go back, research it, find out what was being done, and we can have this discussion and see what needs to be adjusted. Because I think that's what, and again, and this is where some of these issues have been arising, because maybe they weren't done the way they were supposed to be done.
Well, so apparently that's how it looks like.
Okay, we're gonna, if there's any more comments, we're gonna move to the commercial leases.
But I don't think that I'm talking about this.
Okay, so I guess we have a couple of issues with that. One of them is these are the commercial leases of the 2 units that need to be renewed. Capstone negotiated the lease amount, which is the amounts that are there. It's $767 for one unit and $1,500 for the other one. So these, we need the signature from the board.
Well, and I want to make another comment, so, to Sarah's, comment on, that she's not gonna discuss the commercial leases. I know this has been kind of, a back and forth with Capstone, and I think as a board, you all need to review the contract that you have with Capstone right now, because they are stating that they're not responsible for commercial leases and that they don't enter into commercial leases. And,
But they've always taken care of them.
We're taking care of them, but we're not drawing up a contract for them. Like, we'll do the maintenance and all of that stuff, we'll collect the rent, we'll post the rent, but we're not coming up with this contract. That's what Capstone is not wanting to do, because we don't specialize in commercial leases.
but yet when the contract was taken, it was taken for the whole apartment complex, including the commercial spaces.
doesn't-
So that is what I think the board needs to look at the contract, maybe even hire, some outside counsel, to review this and see what you need to change in that contract. I mean, it's up for, obviously, it hasn't been renewed in many years, and this is something that as a city, I know we've been helping, but we should not be drawing up leases for the corporation either. So I think the board is gonna have to find a mechanism that someone can assist them or figure out, maybe talking to, Capstone and seeing, what
Because
other,
we thought under the agreement,
Correct.
these were part of it.
That's what-
and for many years, I mean, this
For many
is.
years, they've been doing it.
No.
for-
So they
Sarah?
take the payments, they do the maintenance on the units, they negotiate the lease, amount.
Correct.
But I
They even
guess
ever-
nothing else?
Is Mr. Skeen, he was the person before, right?
But he was not part of this board.
Well, he was the one, Sarah said that he was the one that was making these lease contracts.
He
and
was
they
the
were
other
just getting
partner in the
those-
partnership.
Right,
But Mr. Skin hasn't been in the picture for over 7 years, 10 years.
yeah. I think I'm not sure how it went or how we figured out, or how Capstone, the risk management found out that we were doing it, but as soon as they found out, they said we are not allowed to do that. So I don't know if it was just maybe Sarah was doing them or if Sonia was doing them, but as soon as the risk management department in Capstone found out, it was just shut off. Like, we don't specialize in commercial leases, so they didn't want to handle that.
But
I mean, we'll
basically,
handle
just not the
everything
drawing,
else.
just not the drawing and
Um,
and the signing.
Right.
So if you notice, they're not signing off on the contract either. So this is a lease straight with the board
Right.
and the tenant.
But we will stay in communication with them. We will do their maintenance requests, collect the rent, any questions
It's
that they
just
have.
you're not doing the contract,
Correct.
basically.
Correct.
There's no representation.
No,
I mean, I think I agree.
And we had provided this lease because we had helped the board with the restaurant lease. So we
Correct.
kind of just
Use the same
changed it up. Used the same one.
So is this rent for the palomitas going from what to what, this is the current rate right now?
What is their current rate right now?
It's 567.
567.
567?
Mhm.
And it's one of the units, they have 2 units, this is the one that's,
So
up for renewal.
if you recall a few years ago, you all did request that Capstone increase the rent, and it didn't. I don't think it happened. So now they've advised them that they will be increased. But then I think also, the pandemic happened, and I think there was some leniency there. But they don't have a current lease.
Okay, the one for Adalia Cepeda, what was the previous rate?
1,300.
Went to 1,500. Okay. And that's for 1 year.
And it has an expiration date of 2026?
it's a 3-year contract.
Is that because it's been 3 years, or why are we going 3 years on this one?
We did 3 years for the,
I think we just put 3 years because the restaurant has a 3-year
3 years,
contract.
I think the rest of this 3 years. Unless
Y'all wanna do
you wanna
something.
change,
What, right
to
now
a
it's
year, 2
1200?
years. Right now it's 1,300.
So I thought we were gonna increase.
It was 400, but there was a little bit of pushback, and they were like, "Can you work with us?"
Unless you wanna change us for 1 year and then redo
I
it
think
for
so,
another?
1 year,
We wanna do
because
1 year.
I think we want to do 1 year because then it doesn't give us any room for the next 36 months to
Okay.
increase. And
All
as
right,
it is,
we'll
we
make the
wanted
change
more.
and then we'll
we
just
ended up
forward it
with
to
less.
you
Yeah,
to
just,
sign or?
Well,
So,
if they vote on it.
We'll have a
Yes.
motion.
On this one, but I'm curious
Oh.
about this other one, the Palomita. There's 2 units. I'm always confused
So
with this.
it's connected together. There's one right here and there's one right
So
here.
each
But one
unit is like
expired.
200? No.
One expires.
Yeah, one is
And then the
expired,
others.
and he must have got it at a later time, and then that one expires. at a
Okay, so
different
that
time.
other one is gonna come back to us
Yes.
for approval
I
to
think
increase
it's,
the rent also.
I think it's June.
Okay, so right now we're gonna go from 567 to
767.
767. I know we're here $200, so it's both pretty much $200.
Right,
So-
but
1
actually,
year, yeah.
on
but-
this one, income,
The
well,
size square
one-
footage,
once we-
half and half.
once you put these two together, they're gonna be about the same. This one's gonna be a little, but this is 2 units, this is 2 units. But this one's, they're apart.
He's actually for the Palo
Okay, you pull it
Mita,
up.
he's actually paying more for the 2 units
No.
than the 1,500.
Yeah.
A couple $100. Just-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
but 1 year lease on this one.
For
And
both
then-
of them, right?
yeah, 1 year on both.
Commercial leases.
And then, once we renew the other one for the Palomitas, let's make them expire the same as this one.
1 year.
1B.
So that we renew everything at the same time.
So the other one, the second unit for the Palomita is gonna be a shorter renewal.
For their second contract, not for this one, but for the other contract.
Okay.
We're gonna try to have them printed out, the files, to
Okay.
change them to 1 year so to see if we can have them signed.
Okay. So we're still gonna make a motion to keep them as they are, except for the expiration date. We're gonna do them for 1 year. That's the motion that's on the floor by Ms. Montoya, and I'll second that. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries. We'll keep them the same, but just change it to a 1 year.
So how do we have the restaurant? It's
The restaurant, we gave them a 3-year.
for the 3 year.
Yeah, but I think there was intervals, different rents at,
Increases.
like, yeah, different
Yeah, we
increases
have.
already factored in.
Okay, and then.
Have you heard anything about that?
No, I don't know if they've contacted you all.
Yeah,
I mean, I see,
Doing
I
okay?
saw, I
Yeah.
see on social media that they're doing really good.
I love their food,
Yeah,
so
we
I'm
love
sure
it.
everybody else loves their food.
Yeah.
What time do they close?
I think at 10.
Okay.
But yeah, because they close like from
Mondays
3 to,
and-
yeah, but they close from 3 to 5, I believe.
Okay.
And
And then
they
they're
come
closed
back-
Mondays and Tuesdays.
They're closed Mondays.
I know they're requesting, they're working on a beer and wine, license. So, we'll see. I mean, right now, there is beer and wine served like across the street.
Right.
So, we'll see if they don't get any pushback, because I know some of the residents sometimes call and complain about the music across the street,
Yeah.
so. But I'm sure they'll advise us on any complaints that they get.
Any other comments, questions on item number 6? If not, we also have a calendar with the dates for the meetings for 2023. If you want to review them, if you have any comments.
Are you okay with those dates? Noon meetings are still good with everyone?
I think noon meetings are
Yes.
best for all board members.
Yes.
Yeah, it was requested that the first 6 months, once a month, and then the next 6 months, once every 2 months.
Correct.
Correct. If nothing else, we're gonna close citizen comments. There's no citizens present at this time. And if no other comments or questions, if we can have a motion to adjourn by Ms. Montoya, second by Mr. Oscar Lopez. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.